Hi besties, welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to be sharing story of a cursed wedding party. Please subscribe and click on the notification bell below. In the city of Lagos, preparations for Amina's wedding had been underway for months. The day had finally arrived and the sun rose with a promise of joy and celebration. Amina, dressed in a stunning white gown that shimmered in the morning, was the epitome of bridal beauty. Her fiancé, Mustafa, was the man of her dreams, and she couldn't wait to start their life together. The ceremony at the church went smoothly. Vows were exchanged, tears were shed, and the couple was pronounced husband and wife. It was a picture-perfect moment. However, as they made their way to the reception hall, the first sign of trouble began to emerge. Amina's family and Mustafa's family had never seen eye to eye. Amina's parents, well educated and sophisticated, looked down on Mustafa's more traditional and loud family. Tensions had always been high, but everyone had hoped they would set aside their differences for the sake of the couple. As guests arrived at the grand reception hall, the atmosphere was electric and excitement. The band played lively tunes, and the air was filled with aroma of delicious Nigerian delicacies. Amina and Mustafa took their seats at the high table, their faces glowing with happiness. It all began with a seemingly innocent misunderstanding. Mustafa's aunt, a stout man with loud voice, had claimed a table near the front of the family. However, Amina's uncle, an equally imposing figure, insisted that the table had been reserved for the bride's family. Words were exchanged, voices were raised, and soon the disagreement escalated into a full-blown shouting match. Guests turned to watch as the argument grew more heated. Amina, horrified, tried to intervene, but her pleas were drowned out by the rising chaos. Mustafa's mother, not one to back down, accused Amina family of trying to steal the spotlight. Insults flew across the rooms like daggers, and what was meant to be a joyful celebration began to unravel. The final straw came when one of Mustafa's cousins, in a fit of rage, overturned a table laden with food. Plates crashed to the ground. Guests began to flee, some trying to mediate, others trying to simply avoid the brawl. Amina's heart sank as she watched her dream wedding turn into a nightmare. She clung to Mustafa, who was equally distraught as their families continued to clash. The band, unsure of what to do, played on. The DJ attempted to calm the situation with a microphone, but his efforts were in vain. In the midst of the chaos, an elderly relative of Mustafa's fainted, adding to the commotion. Screams of panic filled the air as guests rushed to her aid. The hall was now a battlefield, with chairs overturned, food scattered, and guests in disarray. Amina's perfect day had turned into an unmitigated disaster. She could also see the disappointment and anger on Mustafa's face, and it broke her heart. This was supposed to be the happiest day of their lives, but it was rapidly becoming the worst. As she looked around the room, trying to make sense of the chaos, Amina felt a sense of despair. Could their marriage survive this disastrous beginning? Would their families ever reconcile? The reception hall, once filled with joy and laughter, was now a scene of scattered dream. Amina clung to Mustafa, seeking solace in his arms, as they both wondered what the future held for them amidst the wreckage of their wedding day. Amina and Mustafa tried to gather themselves. The reception hall was a mess, with overturned tables, scattered food, and guests either fleeing or arguing. Amina's heart was heavy, but she held on to Mustafa, trying to find some comfort. Just when they thought things couldn't get any worse, the wait staff brought out their wedding cake. It was meant to be a grand, multi-tiered masterpiece. As it was unraveled, gasps of horror filled the room. The cake was lopsided, with one side sagging dangerously. The decorations were smoked, and it looked nothing like the elegant design Amina had painstakingly chosen. Amina stared in disbelief. The cake was supposed to be the symbol of their union, a sweet ending to a perfect day. Instead, it was another glaring reminder of how everything had gone wrong. Guests whispered and pointed, adding to the already tense atmosphere. In the midst of the chaos, Amina's younger sister, Zainab, seemed unusually distant. Throughout the preparations, Zainab had been her confidant, always there to support her, but today she appeared distracted, often glancing nervously around the room. Amina couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. As she watched Zainab disappear towards the back of the hall, her curiosity got the better of her. She excused herself from Mustafa's side and followed her sister. Waving through the tongues of arguing guests, she made her way to a secluded corner behind the stage where she heard hushed voices. Amina's heart pounded in her chest as she approached. Peeking around the corner, she was stunned to see Zainab and Mustafa locked in a heated, whispered conversation. Zainab's face was flushed, and she clutched Mustafa's arm with an intensity that alarmed Amina. She couldn't make out their words, but the closeness between them sent a jolt of fear through her. She stepped back, trying to process what she was seeing. Was it possible that her sister and her new husband were hiding something from her? Before she could gather her thoughts, a loud crash echoed through the hall. Amina rushed back to find the guest in an even greater state of disarray. Someone had knocked over another table, and the room was descending from further into chaos. Mustafa appeared at her side, breathing and anxious. Amina, what's happening? We need to get control of this, he said, his eyes filled with worry. Amina looked at him, trying to read his expression. Was he genuinely concerned, or was there something more sinister at play? As the night wore on, Amina was confused and in doubt. The brawl between their family continued, with security now trying to intervene. The once beautiful reception hall was now a war zone, and her suspicion about Mustafa and Zainab ground at her. Amina knew she had to confront both Mustafa and Zainab, but with the reception still in chaos, she had to hold herself together and find a way to salvage what was left of her wedding day. As the light flickered and the music played on, Amina clung to the hope that she would uncover the truth and find a way to move forward. The night was far from over, and the challenges ahead seemed insurmountable. As the chaotic reception finally drew to a close, Amina and Mustafa found themselves exhausted and emotionally drained. They had managed to get their families to leave, but the damage was done. The once joyous celebration had turned into a nightmare. Amina's mind was still racing with the image of her sister and husband in the secluded corner. She knew she needed to address it, but she couldn't bear to confront Mustafa just yet. They checked into their hotel room, a luxurious suite that had been booked for their wedding night. It was meant to be a haven of peace after a day of festivities, but the tension between them was palpable. Amina and Mustafa barely spoke as they entered the room, each lost in their own thoughts. The room was filled with wedding gifts, beautifully wrapped and stacked neatly in one corner. Amina, hoping to distract herself from the day's events, suggested they start unwrapping the presents. Mustafa agreed, reluctantly, and they began to open the gifts one by one. At first, it was a pleasant distraction. They unwrapped lovely items, elegant glassware, expensive kitchen appliances, and luxurious lining. Each gift was a reminder that despite the chaos, there were people who wished them well. Then they came across a small unmarked box. It was wrapped in plain brown paper, standing out among the colorful festive wrapping of other gifts. Amina hesitated, but Mustafa, trying to lighten the mood, made a joke about it being a surprise. As Amina carefully unwrapped the box, Her hands trembled. Inside, she found a small carved wooden charm. Next to it was a folded piece of paper. She opened the note and read its contents aloud. To Hamina and Mustafa, may your marriage be filled with strife and sorrow from your husband's side chick. A chill ran down Amina's spine. She looked at Mustafa. Amina felt a wave of nausea as suspicions about Mustafa and Zina brushed back with full force. Mustafa, what was this? Amina's voice was barely a whisper, filled with a mist of fear and anger. Who sent this? Mustafa shook his head, his expression one of shock and confusion. I don't know, Amina. I swear I have no idea. Amina felt a tear roll down her cheek. Is it true, Mustafa? Is there someone else? Mustafa reached out to her, but she pulled away. Amina, I swear to you, I have no side chick. I don't know who would do this. The room fell into a heavy silence. Amina stared at the charm and the note, her heart breaking. The events of the day had taken their toll, and now this ominous gift threatened to scatter what little trust remained between them. Amina stood up, needing space to think. I need some time alone, Mustafa. I need to figure out what's happening here. Mustafa nodded, his face a mask of worry and regret. He watched as Amina moved to the window. Looking out into the night, the city light twinkled below, a stark contrast to the darkness that seemed to have enveloped their lives. As the hours passed, Amina's mind raced with questions. Who had sent the charm? Was Mustafa hiding something? And what about Zainab? She knew she couldn't avoid the confrontation forever. The truth had to come out, no matter how painful. The night stretched on, filled with uncertainty and fear. Amina and Mustafa were both trapped in a web of suspicion and doubt, their once bright future now overshadowed by the mysteries of the present. As dawn approached, Amina resolved to uncover the truth, no matter what it took. The challenges ahead were daunting, but she determined to face them head on. Would you like to listen to the part two of my story? Would you like to know what happened the next day after the party? Click on the notification bell to know when the party will be dropping. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.